Yep. The word they're using is flawless. Okay, 12:02. Yes, here we go. Real news at noon. Real news at noon, indeed. Yep. Wow. I'll listen to that. Okay. Folks, we're live in just 3 minutes. 3 minutes out. Good afternoon, everyone. My goodness, what a beautiful Friday. Holy cow. Wow. Gorgeous. Very nice out, to say the very least. And I believe it's supposed to be nice all weekend long. So we will be ready with Road Patrol. He was great. Oh, hold on. Okay, here we go. Yep. Two minutes. 2 minutes. That's when we're live. Yep. Okay. Boy, last night that would have been fun. We started off Road Patrol with they were looking for a vehicle, and many Providence Police cruisers swamped, really flood the zone on right off of around 80th Street, Thurbers Avenue, in and around that area. Oh well. Thought we had a police chase. We were ready for it. Put it that way. We were definitely ready for it. Yep. There's Jane Rice. Good afternoon. There's Bill Kelly. Look at that. Now in Naples. Yep. There's Carol. There's Dos Hola. There's Nita. Yes. Thank you very much, Nita. There's our friend Chris Moran. Everybody all together, folks. We're live in just one moment. There's Ryan. Hey, the match is set now. So, of course, now all the headlines. My God, pumping up Harris. Let them. You just have to let them enjoy it right now. So let them enjoy it right now, because it's not going to last. It's not going to last. Okay. We're going to be live in just a moment. We just wait for the word from JR, and then we are good to go on this beautiful at 12:06 on folks. What a beautiful Friday. Let me just check. Just heard the weather forecast on the radio, but for those that are watching, we're on the radio, plus we do Facebook Live, but wait, there's more, and live on YouTube, hola, and also on X. Look at this, all day sunny high up to 84. Tomorrow, wait a minute, oh, more of the same. Sunny, 85. Sunday, dry, partly cloudy. Now, just next week was supposed to be beautiful, and now all of a sudden, who knows? Now they're saying potential showers. But here's what I do know. It's ideal weather right now, 78 degrees. Folks, you're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380, 99.9 FM. This is, yes, the real news at noon. This will serve as the real news at noon. And it's brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, Rhode Island's #1 garden center. Locally sourced vegetables. Now, especially anyone coming back from the beaches, South County, pop in. They're right off of Route 4, especially right now. Sweet corn, native tomatoes, locally run family business, PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Annuals, perennials, trees and shrubs, hanging pots, 10-inch, 12-inch moss baskets, hanging impatiens, pansy, marigold bags, large selection of beautiful patio pots. They're open 7 days a week, but right now, there's nothing like if you're going over to someone's home, maybe for a cookout, or maybe going to see someone at their beach house. Hey, fresh vegetables are always a hit. PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, full-scale nursery, everything you need to make your home or business a showstopper. As I said, they're open 7 days a week. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Well, it's been quite the week on DePetro.com. Not surprised. We had all the info on the shooting at the feast. We had the body cam video of that. We have the Hopkinton killer Joe Francis body cam coverage. It's all on DePetro.com, which is brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner, or drinks in the lounge with Anthony Santos. They're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn. And remember, they also have the market at Coesit that is open. So far, where do things stand? I understand right now, if you're, there's a couple of things to consider. Now, number one, Rhode Island, our part of the country, Massachusetts, you have to remember that we are not a battleground state. And it's tough because there's so many of us that are vested in this election. I'm talking about the race for the White House. And you want to be active in the election. But and no one likes to hear, I mean, I don't like to, but no one likes to hear that it's not, that your vote doesn't count. However, all of this noise about Harris right now at the top of the ticket, and it's been less than a week. It was just on Sunday that President Biden announced he was not going to seek a second term. So it's not your imagination, though. It is basically bloomed to a full coronation love fest, not only amongst Democrats, but also amongst the media. But what this really comes down to is the independent swing voters, whether we like it or not, but Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, there's some battleground states that are so important in this race. The other day we had Sheriff Tom Hudson on and, feels they can flip Mass. Again, it's nothing against his efforts. Same thing with Rhode Island. It's just so difficult in the Northeast. You can't ignore that Rhode Island, Mass, Connecticut 20 years ago was a different place, and even New York, New Jersey for that matter. But the Northeast, unfortunately, has become more blue than it was 20 years ago when you'd have, or a little more than that actually in Rhode Island, but you'd have someone, a Republican, either in Congress or, God forbid, the Senate. But like a governor or something like that. And now it really has become an enclave. And by the way, I see people post saying, oh, thank God. I mean, I've seen this. Thank God I live in Rhode Island. We don't have to worry about Trump. I mean, that's the way some people view it. So you knew that the media was going to be on board. But all of this honeymoon, and that's really what it is, that Vice President Harris is on, it really comes down to how the voters are going to perceive her. I think it is interesting. North Carolina, I mean, it's hard to believe, but it is a swing state. It is a battleground state. Arizona is a swing state. And again, it's all because of the people from the north that have moved there. In Arizona, which was famously red. It's all the people from California that moved there and then turned it into a swing state. And then North Carolina, which was always Republican stronghold. And then suddenly, because of all the Northerners moving on down, from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, they've turned it into a swing state. But this is going to come down to how those swing independent, and there are people like that, regardless, whether you believe it or not, who in Wisconsin, that's why the Republican convention was so important to have there. Harris right now, without question, since Sunday, it has been a whirlwind. And they're trying to create this image. And now it's the latest. The phone call of her on the phone getting the endorsement from President Obama and Michelle Obama. When you look at her in the way that's shot, she's not in Washington. She's not on Capitol Hill. She looks like she just got off stage performing somewhere. That's the image that they want. She's not a big political leader, which she actually, she's the vice president, for crying out. Right now, as we speak, Netanyahu is at Mar-a-Lago and meeting with President Trump. And the men are embracing and also, his wife and so forth at Mar-a-Lago. He recognizes, Netanyahu, who's the real power base here, who truly has the back of Israel. But that video of the vice president, and, she just happens to be walking along. But if you watch that video, she's backstage and you see the flags in the background. This was all obviously staged. The Obamas called Kamala. But she's not in her office. She's not on Capitol Hill. She looks like she just came off stage as though she's like Taylor Swift. In the past, they used the term rock star, but that word is overused. So, and then, she's waiting, and just the way it's constructed, where it's both President Obama and Michelle Obama are on the line with her, and they're calling her. And President Obama doesn't even need to identify himself. So she gives the impression they talk all the time. I don't know whether they do, but she's not in Washington. This business of she's coming off stage and they're literally someone's handing her a phone as she's making her way. That's all done by design. This is supposed to be a creation. You're going to hear about a transformational figure. Kamala Harris is an empty suit. How bad is it? Even Raimondo, as I predicted. Is Gina Raimondo going to be on the ticket? Of course not. Does former Governor Commerce Secretary Raimondo, does she like Harris? Gina Raimondo, say what you want, she is the opposite of Kamala Harris. So, however, as I had predicted, she's not going to pass up an opportunity to get some press, get her name out there, do some interviews, and it's all about building the Raimondo name. And then if Harris and then whoever's going to be the VP, whoever that is going to be, they fall short, which I still think they will. It's going to come down to then Raimondo. It's the race for 28. And that is a mix that Gina Raimondo certainly wants to be in. Now, I want to go through, because as I predicted, Raimondo is a political animal. She's all about Gina. She always has been all about Gina. She also now says my 2 terms as governor. Actually, she left early in the second term, but it's all about getting press. It's all about going to the convention. It's all about, and what I mean about that is people seeing her, delegates, donors, and great. I want to be very clear. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but you have to identify the strategy. Gina Raimondo, I think America would vote for 2 women on the ticket. I don't know what to make of that. If they were 2 competent women, perhaps. The problem with the Democrat ticket is Harris. And they're, right now they're going through. She is Taylor Swift. She is bigger than life. It's gonna that bubble is gonna pop because she's actually not a hard worker. She has a lot of things out there that she has said that she's just not the right person. She's not the right person. I'm not even convinced. I think there are some other Democrats that would give President Trump a good run. I'm not convinced that she's the best they have to offer, and I'm gonna tell you why, folks. This portion of our program, and again, I did receive an email from Karen. Karen is thinking of they're going to get a fence at her company where she works, and she heard me mention a fence company. Karen, contact fenceri.com, 401-732-0555. The premier fence and deck contractor, long-term quality solutions for your yard. It's fenceri.com, 401-732-0555. Fenceri.com, obviously online at fenceri.com. Remember, $200 off if you mention our program. Wood deck construction, licensed and insured, 5-star rating with Google. Fenceri.com. Whether you want more privacy, maybe you want more security that a fence can bring and a gate, or maybe it's because of a pool or a pet, whatever it may be. Fenceri.com. And many times it certainly can add to the landscape. Fenceri.com. Allow them to pitch your business, hear them out. If you're listening right now on this Friday, whether on AM 1380 or 99.9 FM or online at DePetro.com, or maybe you're watching the Real News at Noon, contact Fenceri.com, 401-732-0555. Henry is going to have a family party. Henry asked me who is the company that I recommend who could treat his yard for bugs and mosquitoes. Apparently last year he had people over and they all got eaten alive. Henry, contact Mosquito Joe, Rhode Island. Mosquito Joe, Rhode Island. With Mosquito Joe, the mosquitoes will go. Mosquito Joe of Rhode Island. They'll come out, treat your yard. It's remarkable. You can sit outside. So Raimondo, though, what the type of headline that she's getting, I'm not convinced this is the headline that she wanted. She wants this to all to be about Gina Raimondo and Gina Raimondo with trade, and that's what she's looking for the headline to be. But instead, this is from the Hill. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo, U.S. absolutely ready for 2 women on the ticket. Well, I'll tell you, this is actually a mistake. That was a mistake. The Harris people are not going to like it because what she has just done is she is now, if you're the Harris people, this is not the headline you want. This is a faux pas. There's no way the Harris people are happy about this because now this sets the expectation. Well, how come she's not choosing a female? I mean, the front runners we've heard are Mark Kelly, the senator of Arizona, and also the governor of Pennsylvania. Well, Commerce Secretary Raimondo comes out and says the U.S. is ready for 2 women on the ticket. This would be, first President Biden in 2020 was going to pick. He said, my pick will be a female. Then he said, after the summer of George Floyd, my pick will be a woman of color. Commerce Secretary, this is in the Hill, Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said she believes the United States is absolutely ready for 2 women on a presidential ticket, amid rumors she's on the short list for potential running mate. Now, if you're Harris, Raimondo doesn't bring you anything. Hear me out. The presidential, it's all about electoral votes. It's actually a numbers game. It's a battle to get numbers, regardless of what, there are people out there, and I get there's so many people that don't understand that. There were people that were saying that President Trump should have chosen Tulsi Gabbard. She doesn't bring you anything. President Trump should pick Tucker Carlson. He doesn't bring you anything. President Trump should pick Candace Owens. She doesn't bring you anything. she's bringing those three people I just named are bringing the people that you already have. I want you to picture if you're throwing a party and someone says, what can I bring? And you say, you know what? It's always good to present people with different options for dessert. So we have plenty of beer and wine. We actually could use a little more selections of dessert. And they show up and they have, you're thinking, oh, good. Did they be brownies or cake or pie? No, they brought more wine. We didn't need wine. We didn't need wine. Right now, a problem with J.D. Vance is the Trump people thought they were running against Biden Harris. J.D. Vance, he doesn't expand the tent. He doesn't expand the base. Now, we'll see. They're going to park him in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. But just coming back to this, you know, what does Gina Raimondo bring her? Nothing. Oh boy, she's going to, because of this now, Rhode Island is going to go, they have Rhode Island and Mass anyway. No, it's very strategic. And again, the best example is, you know, the reason Kennedy picked LBJ to get Texas. So, but now this is not what they want. As to voters are ready to see two women, Raimondo said, absolutely. Why is this, if you're the Harris people, why is this a discussion? Let's rewind what happened here. They came out of the box and said it's down to 4 people. It's down to the governor of Kentucky, the governor of North Carolina, the governor of Pennsylvania, and the senator from Arizona. That's what the Harris people basically were saying on Sunday and Monday. And then they realized, well, wait a minute. Trump did more an apprentice style. Trump did, you put all these people on television and see how they do. And on top of that, you're flooding the zone with different voices that is speaking up. So then they decided, wait a minute. Actually, instead of just saying 4 people, let's pretend there were 12 people. And then we're going to have 12 people getting on television saying positive things, even though it's really seemingly down to 2 people. But it wasn't supposed to be Raimondo steals the spotlight. My point is, as much as they're saying it's 12, they're already trying to decide, should it be the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, with the thought that if you pick him, that you'll get Pennsylvania, which is a very important state for electoral college votes. Arizona is in play. They like the imaging of Senator Mark Kelly, former astronaut, married to Gabby Gifford, also his position on the border, but they don't deliver that many votes. So Raimondo throws a wrench in the whole thing. I think that, so now Raimondo, you know, as I have said, there's no love between the two of them. And what Raimondo is actually kind of, maybe, as much as I'm saying it's a mistake, maybe it's not a mistake. She's kind of hijacking the whole thing. I think the American people are ready for a team that can lead, whoever that is, regardless, you know, gender or race. Businesswoman, former governor of Rhode Island. I've run a business. I've run a state for 2 terms. I run a huge agency. I'm an executive. So Raimondo's one of several Democrats mentioned. Others include Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona, Pennsylvania, Governor Josh Shapiro, North Carolina, Governor Roy Cooper, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. So the DNC expects to start a virtual roll call for Harris next Thursday. If she secures the nomination, they could expect her to select a running mate in advance of August 7th. The convention begins August 19th. You know, the more I think of it, actually, it wasn't. I'm saying it's a mistake. I don't think it is a mistake, because knowing Raimondo, what she's just done is she now has created a lane. You know, I'm rethinking this in real time. What Raimondo at 1226, what she's actually done now is, you have Mark Kelly, as I mentioned, there was all the men, and they're talking about Harris is great and they'd love to serve as a VP. Raimondo has now carved a lane that she's the only one saying, I think there should be 2 women on the ticket. Let me guess which 2. Now, what would be comical here would be if Harris says, you're right, Gina. There should be 2 women. We're going to pick Gretchen Whitmer. Let's play this out because Raimondo is a political animal. Keep in mind, she's never lost an election. Ran for general treasurer, won. 2014 Democrat primary, beat Clay Pell, Angel Tavares, 2-0. Beat Alan Fung, 3-0. Beat Matt Brown, 4-0, and then beat Alan Fung again, 5-0. And then actually she ran for DNC, the Democrat Governors Association, DGA, and won that, 6-0. But anyhow, and then even though she endorsed Mike Bloomberg, boom, she still gets a position within the cabinet, even though she endorsed Bloomberg. But hear me out. Let's play this out a little bit. If you're Gina, I don't believe Gina really wants Harris to win. She doesn't, because she has her eyes on the White House. So let's play this out. Gina comes out, hear me out, and says, I'm going to cloud the message and say there should be 2 women on the ticket, knowing that will anger Harris and put pressure on her. So if Harris chooses Gina, she gets to be the running mate. If they win, she's vice president. If they lose, she now is a favorite for 2028, meaning Raimondo. Now let's also play this out. She says, I think there should be 2 women on the ticket. Gina Raimondo says this, and she's running down that lane. She's going to say it everywhere. I think it's time for 2 people. Almost usurping the message now. It's time for a woman of color to be president. Raimondo just upped the ante. Like, forget about that. It's time to have 2 women on the ticket. So let's play this out. Harris chooses Gretchen Whitmer and says, blank you, Gina. What has Raimondo done? Raimondo forced Harris to choose a female and most likely guarantees the loss, thus putting Gina in a good position for 2028. That is how I think they look at it. And it's actually very clever. So in a way, Raimondo is sabotaging the Harris nomination because the Harris people, the Obama people, they're all saying this is historic that a woman of color is going to be at the top of the ticket, a first run for president for a woman of color. Raimondo hijacks it and says, let's really make history and put 2 women on the ticket. It's actually very clever as I think of it. I thought, wow, that was a mistake. I don't think it was a mistake. You know what? The more I think of it, she doesn't do anything by mistake. She's purposely sabotaging Harris's candidacy, which reaffirms information that I've heard and believe, which is there's no love between Raimondo and Harris. I recognize this is inside. I recognize not everyone's going to understand what I'm talking about. I understand there's some people that say you're supposed to just hate whoever. Hey, there is still people that were saying Michelle Obama is going to be the nominee. Now she's endorsing Harris. If you want to say, well, yeah, but behind the scenes, they're going to be running things. I'm just talking about on the ticket. I think this is a very shrewd move the more I think about it. And I'm going to write about this actually and post it because I haven't seen anyone else write this. Raimondo just changed the equation. You want to do something really different. What you really want to do is have 2 women on the ticket, meaning make me your VP. And if not, Raimondo. Now, what would really throw off Raimondo would be if Harris picks Elizabeth Warren as her running mate or the governor of Texas, Gretchen Whitmer, as her running mate, and they win. Then Gina's really thrown. But she's looking at it as, if she picks me, I'm the VP. Either we win and I'm VP, or we lose and I'm the front runner for 28, or I force her to pick a female and the all-female ticket loses. Suddenly it's like Geraldine Ferraro all over again. Folks, this portion of our program, I get asked this all the time. As many of you know, at 12:31, I'm going to write about this later. I think that's how I view Raimondo and her team strategize this and look at it, of how do we come out on top on this. So by saying Throw her in the mix as VP, she gets an interview. By getting the interview, she gets to toss out the idea there should be 2 women on the ticket. It's really simple. You have to have, if you have problems with your feet, it really cuts into your way of life, your quality of life. That's why Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists, right there in the Smithfield Medical Center, Route 5 in Smithfield, beautiful building, ample parking. Folks, all board certified podiatrists, 3 doctors who are available to serve you, and they perform all aspects of foot care. As you're listening on this Friday, whether it's you or a spouse or a family member, if you're having problems with your feet, skin condition, bunions, hammer toe, fractures, sprains, they take all health insurance. You want to see a doctor. Now, there are people that are going out and they're spending like real money at kiosks or these stores that open up, and they're selling these very expensive inserts. You don't have that. Stop doing that. Instead, contact Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist. Call for an appointment, 401 949 3220. 401 949 3220. Again, you can find them online at greenvillefoothandankle.com. Find them on Facebook. They're right in that Smithfield Medical Center. Many people, you start receiving treatment that day. Foot pain is not normal. It should not be ignored. It shouldn't be, oh, I guess I'm just getting older. I can't walk around anymore. It doesn't have to be that way. Not if you contact Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist, 401 949 3220. Well, folks, good afternoon on this beautiful Friday. You're listening to the John DePietro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. The more I think that through, and let's do, this is a Race to the White House update brought to you by Propane Plus. Remember, for all your propane needs, call Propane Plus today, 401-885-4209, or in Massachusetts, 508-252-3359 for Propane Plus. I recognize, and I played it earlier, first hour of Governor Raimondo, or Commerce Secretary Raimondo, excuse me, of her doing an interview with CBS. And the fact that she said that now and tossed out that 2 people, there should be 2 women on the ticket. I want to just see, I'm willing to bet that right now in real time, I'm not going to say she's trending, but the fact that now if you type in her name, the interview pops up on her interview with CBS, and now the boom, like she's getting some press. She's getting some attention. She was on with Jim Cramer. In an interview, she stressed the importance of domestic chip production. The country's on track to meet its end-of-decade goal. There are different people saying maybe Gina Raimondo for VP. This is exactly what she wants. She needs, and I'm also, I'll tell you about Raimondo. She realizes there's a window right now. Regardless of what you think of her, she recognizes there's a window right now. And she didn't jump out Monday, Tuesday. She endorsed Harris. But she realizes and recognizes there's a race right now. There's a vacuum. There's no VP chosen. It's an opening. Her and her staff right now are going full blast, calling out every contact. And you want to do an interview, and she's making news. Line up the interviews. Raise her profile. We need delegates mentioning her name. She needs to go into the convention. Boom. Put her in the mix. The more I think about it, I don't know if that question was planted. That's very possible. One of the Raimondo people could have said to the reporter, it wasn't really CBS. It was apparently CBS News has a 24-hour operation, kind of like Fox has the same thing. So it wasn't like it was Ed O'Keefe, but easily could have said, ask her if she thinks there should be 2 women on the ticket. And then she throws that out there. And I don't know if you fully understand that what she actually just did, the more I think of it, is she just sabotaged the Harris campaign, which is more in line. Now, I'll say this. I'm seeing some other headlines. Tucker Carlson to blame for the VP disaster. I don't know what to make of. Right now, President Trump is still doing very, very well in these battleground states. But J.D. Vance is already, people are questioning, was that the right choice? I don't, I'm going to come back to, he was, it's my understanding, he was chosen for, he does have a remarkable story, J.D. Vance, Senator Vance, remarkable story, military guy, military, Ohio State, Yale Law, U.S. Senate, unique combination, young, 39, going to be 40 next month. And then it was my understanding they're going to park him and really just have him campaign hard in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, and felt that he could deliver the vote there. So, but if I were the Trump people, in a way, when you're formulating your ticket, here's the question. We don't know what the Democrat ticket is. So it's a little bit of, I'm not going to give a great analogy here, but if you're a football team, the Patriots would maybe set up their defense under the guise of who they believe the starting quarterback's going to be. And if it's a different starting quarterback, maybe you pick a different defense. So, J.D. Vance was the selection. He's very good in arguing and articulating his beliefs, but he was chosen when it was Biden-Harris. What I think is actually unfair for the Trump people is, and I don't know the answer to this, maybe President Trump would say, nope, it doesn't matter. I still would have chosen him. But if now it was a different ticket, would President Trump have chosen someone else? One thing that President Trump does have an argument on is they've already blown through a lot of money blasting Biden. And I'm going to touch on what I think that the media and the Democrat Party is ignoring, but I don't think it's reality. And I'm going to share with you in just a moment. But folks, this 2024 update is brought to you by J. Perry Paving. Call them today, 401-732-1730. On this Friday, if you've been thinking of having your driveway paved or maybe a parking lot, patio, 401-732-1730. Letter J, J. Perry Paving. Always high quality, fair pricing, exceptional service, free estimate, J. Perry Paving. Call them 401-732-1730, 401-732-1730, letter J, J. Perry Paving. What I don't think, the media seems ready to move past what I'm about to mention. But in those focus groups, what I think that the media wants to change the narrative on, and definitely the Democrat Party wants to change the narrative on, is the fact that Harris, Vice President Harris, and it's now Harris for president. I think she actually kind of likes that it's just Harris for president. Watch, whoever she picks will be really small letters. But what I think a lot of voters are not willing to overlook is the fact that she was right there perpetuating this fraud that he is capable of running the country. And they want to pretend that that's not the case. And many members of the media want to pretend that that's not the case. But I'm telling you, I think that's going to be a bigger issue than they recognize. And, I could play. I just saw there's newsmakers, they're going to have a discussion on the race and so forth. And I'll have to watch it. They just taped it and then they posted some clips online. But I'm wondering how much that they're going to make that an issue. Many times something that is an issue, there's just certain members of the media that they decide, well, it shouldn't be an issue. And immigration is a good example for that. Immigration had to shoot to the top to be a priority issue for people because the media would never acknowledge that it was an issue. They wanted to pretend that it wasn't an issue. But with Harris, what many people, we still don't know why President Biden is not running for reelection. We still don't know that. He put it out, a statement on Sunday, and then he endorsed her. He addressed the nation Wednesday and talked about passing the torch and new voice. He still hasn't said anything. Did he get a test result? What was the reason? Why is he not running? And it's still a fair question as to, if you're unable to run for reelection, why should we believe right now for the next 6 months you're capable of being president? But I want to repeat what I think, that the Harris people, the media, they want to believe that she should not be held accountable. And it's not an issue. People aren't interested in why and what he's been like and so forth. He didn't just start failing. Especially people at that age. I mentioned this. President Obama, I think, saw him in December. And then he saw him in June. And supposedly it was that George Clooney fundraiser. And President Obama was shocked at how much he had begun to fail in just a period of 5 months. But that can happen with people at that age. You might see someone at Christmas time, and then whatever reason you don't see them, and then you see them in the summertime, like, wow, grandma or Uncle Ed or whoever, they've really aged. But Harris was around him all the time, and certainly his staff. So my point is, I don't think she can escape that. I don't think she can escape that. She was fully on board perpetrating the myth and fraud that he was up to running the country for 4 more years. Think about that. There's no one that would make him their CEO. There was no, if he said to you, hop in the car, I'm driving, right? Let's just say around here, I'll drive us to Boston. I'd be like, there's no way you're driving us to Boston. I don't think I'd comfortable you're driving us to the corner to get some milk. So how is that someone who's making decisions on foreign policy and our adversaries and everything? Folks, I want to remind you on this sunny Friday, if you're thinking of getting a new roof, remember Andrew with Royal Exteriors and Siding, 401-533-9989. Royal Exteriors, where the customer is king or queen. Call them for a free estimate. Very knowledgeable. If you're listing right now on this Friday and you've been thinking, it is time for a new roof or siding, this is a great time of year to have it done. Royal Exteriors, where the customer is king or queen. 401-533-9989. 533-9989. Royal Exteriors. Online at royalexteriorsri.com. You can find them on Facebook. Fantastic customer reviews. It's Royal Exteriors. 401-533-9989 for Royal Exteriors. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. I think, let me just play this clip of Newsmakers. I haven't heard it. As far as J.D. Vance, the people that seemingly were behind that pick are now, the way I understood it, were Tucker Carlson and Don Jr., that they were the biggest proponents of selecting Senator Vance. But, the president had it down to seemingly his final three were Senator Marco Rubio and the governor of North Dakota in J.D. Vance. One of those were his top three. He had the ability to make the choice. For whatever reason, right now, I mean, J.D. Vance, he's very competent. They're trying to seize on some of the things that he has said in the past. I'll say this, none of that should come as a surprise. None of that should come as a surprise to the Trump people, because I have to think that he was vetted, but I just wonder if they think or thought he would be the best choice against Biden Harris. All right, I want to dip into Joe Fleming joins Ted Nesi, Tim White, analyzed the transform race for president. Oh, and Kara Cromwell. Let me just hear a little bit of them talking.
I was going to say that the polls are now tightening up quite a bit. And again, keep in mind, this isn't so much a national election. It's 50 states that are voting. And you're going to get the 270 electoral votes from those states. We got to look more at the individual states. For example, places like New Hampshire, Minnesota, New Mexico, they were starting to swing away from Democrats to the point where I saw Virginia, even Biden was losing. However, now I saw a poll say for New Hampshire, Harris is up by 6. And now it's becoming more of a blue state than it was before. So it's starting to turn. Michigan, I seen 3 polls. She was up by 2. She was tied. She was down by 2. Biden was down by like 6 or 7 in those states. So she's closing that gap. I would say Trump's still a favorite, but she's making momentum. Again, as I said before, can she keep the momentum going to close that gap?
You know, Ted, you and I talk about this all the time off the show. I dismiss national polling, right? Because of just what Joe said, that tell me the polls in the swing states defend it.
Well, I think all polling, you cannot say it's not a prediction, and it's got a margin of error.
Sure.
You can't look as closely at, she's at 48 and he's at 46 or something like that. You just say, all right, that tells you there's a tight race going on here, and both sides have reason to fight. Whereas when the polls are starting to show Biden, as Joe said, slipping into the closing close to a double-digit gap in some of these swing states, that even in a national poll, down 6 points nationally, a Democrat's not going to win the White House losing the national vote. Because just, if you think about the country, it's not a different set of candidates in the swing states.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same mood music of the election, even if those people are getting spoken to more. So if you're losing the country by 6, 7 points or something like that, the odds but in Michigan, they actually love you, that's just not really how politics works. And so I think you got to look at it as a sense of where things are going. This is a tight and competitive race where I still think I agree Trump for now is a narrow edge.
Happy Friday.
He is the favored. I still believe right now all of the coverage, what you're still seeing at 1248, folks, it's a sigh of relief with the Democrat Party. You know what else that also tells you is, to me anyhow, how much they were resigned to the fact that Biden was not up for the job and that President Biden was going to lose. I mean, that's my takeaway. That's how much little faith they had. They were resigned to the fact that he's going to lose, because Harris, Vice President Harris, President Trump, he does need to debate her. She's not good on her feet. I've never seen anyone that talks so much and says nothing, right? And you're going to see these clips out there. She just reimagining policing, unburden the burdened. We need to unite these United States. She talks in these things that they don't, I don't even know. She's not saying anything. She could get up and give a speech and never really say anything. And just that the image of her in the video of President Obama and Michelle Obama giving her the endorsement, it's like she's Taylor Swift walking off the stage, just gave a performance, walking. As she's walking, it looks like the West Wing. Someone's handing her a phone. Hello. Oh, hey. She recognizes his voice. That's her image. That's her. This is playing out exactly how Harris thinks it should play out, which is it's uncontested. As I've mentioned, I've spoken to political people before who wanted to run for an office. And when they were talking to me and feeling it out, I said, how are you going to feel if there's a primary? And different times, various people would say that, well, there shouldn't be a primary. There shouldn't be a primary. I would consider doing this if everyone would rally around me and say, you should be the person. And I would try to explain to that individual, it doesn't work that way. In a lot of different races, of course, there's someone else that jumps forward, but this is how Harris views it should work, which is, what is the point of having, like in Kamala Harris's mind, she thinks, well, of course I'm the most qualified. Of course, no one should be challenging me. it's my turn. I'm the most brilliant. I'm the vice president. I am a combination of Michelle Obama, Beyonce. Of course, no one should be challenging, but I want to maintain you don't get the best person that way. So, and I'll even say this, if there was a debate, now there's not going to be apparently, but if you had a debate, we're going to start to have a series of debates leading up to the Democrat convention, and they could put it together very, very quickly. They could say next Wednesday night, we'll pick a place, and we're going to have Governor of Pennsylvania, Governor of California, right? Gina Raimondo, whoever you want to run, Mayor Pete, we're going to have an open forum. I'm telling you, Harris doesn't finish in the final four. So right now, all the media attention, this is August. She is so weak on so many different positions. And she was in charge of the border, and that's a big issue. And she was there as Biden was failing. And she doesn't have good answers for those things. And the way she talks and that Joe, and he, it's they're all giddy. But what they're giddy about is just that Biden's not running anymore. Or they're more excited about that till actually they realize it's like a rebound relationship. Someone gets out of a bad marriage and then, boom, all of a sudden they go on a date with someone. They contact you and say, we're already picking out where we're going to have the rehearsal dinner. That's what's going on with Harris right now. They're so elated. Oh, thank God he stepped aside. Oh, what they're really saying is, thank God it's anyone other than Biden. It just happens to be her. But hey, in 2016, Hillary had a big lead going into September. And President Trump, little by little, ate into that lead. So they need to just keep doing what they're doing. They don't need to go on the heavy offensive with her. She'll implode. Don't get me wrong. The media is not going to help him, but she will implode. This is going to come down to, should it be President Trump or her? And she will melt, I believe, under the spotlight. Folks, this portion of our program, I want to remind you about AJ Home Improvement. If you've been thinking about improving your home, call them 401-323-9252. Frame to finish basements, acoustical ceilings, new homes, additions, commercial rehabs, painting, remodeling. They can do it all. AJ Drywall Plasters Home Improvement, 401-323-9252. Maybe you're thinking of painting the inside of your home. Maybe you're thinking of adding on an addition. AJ Home Improvement. Gee, I wonder what they do. They improve your home or business. 401-323-9252. 401-323-9252. AJ Drywall Plasters and Home Improvement. Now, a couple other reminders. You think you're getting a new kitchen? You are? Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen. 401-433-7272. Design Center, Greenwich Avenue, Warwick. Call them 401-433-7272. Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen. Take you from concept to completion. Remember, their state-of-the-art studio. Respect, integrity, customer focus. Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen. I share their Facebook page. It is a work of art. That could be your bathroom. That could be your kitchen. Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen. Hold on. Who else did I need to mention? For your lawn care, JD Lawn Care Tree Service, 401-441-0154. I share their Facebook page. And Anthony has some friends coming in from out of town, and they want to try. They said, Juan, what's the Mexican restaurant you recommend on Federal Hill? Don Jose's Tequila. Over 50 high-end tequilas in stock, Anthony. Pop in and see them. Don Jose's Tequila, 351 Atwells Avenue in Providence. And don't forget, Sunday brunch, 10:30 to 3. They have the back patio. Dining out front on Saturday nights is going to be beautiful. Al fresco. Don Jose's Tequila. Well, folks, good afternoon. What a week of news. Now, let's look at the calendar for a moment. So the weekend, you look at how things have broken out. and that is, it's really, where are we? The 26th. Really remarkable of the President Trump. The assassination attempt was the 13th on a Saturday. And then you had the Republican convention. Last Sunday, President Biden pulls out of the race. And then who knows, my point, who knows what's going to be coming up this weekend. That is two historical events happening on the weekend, by the way. One on a Saturday, Republican convention, Biden not running, that was on a Sunday. And then who knows what's in store. One thing I think many of you have realized is we run a 7-day-a-week news operation, whether it's Road Patrol Live, or we were live with both of those announcements, especially President Trump. So my point is, if anything happens over the course of the weekend, we will certainly be ready to roll. All right, let's see if we can get on the line our friend Marie at It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. She is the Queen of Health on this beautiful Friday. My goodness, folks, God is good. Let's see if we can get her on the line. No guarantee. I think we can. I think we can get her on the line. We're going to find out in just a moment, folks. Again, and we will be doing Road Patrol Live later. We will be doing Road.
It's My Health. This is Marie.
Folks, there she is on this Friday. Joining us on the line is the Queen of Health. It's Marie at It's My Health. Good afternoon, Marie.
Hi, John. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Is the sun out on Mendon Road?
It sure is. It sure is. It's always sunny in here, so it doesn't matter whether it's shining outside or not.
Now, Marie, it's beautiful weather and summer is here. I'm willing to bet you have some delicious teas that people could have that they could cool down over a nice nice iced tea.
Oh, for sure. We have quite a few choices of teas depending on what you like. If you like something spicy, if you like something sweet, if you like something that's more herbal. But you can combine things, so many things you can do with the teas to make them flavorful, to hydrate, and to have some health benefits as well.
And what about if people can tend to dehydrate in this hot weather?
Yeah, we do have electrolytes that people can add to their water. We have some powders that have flavors to them, usually based in coconut water, that you can just add to your water, and that will hydrate as well.
Now, Marie, Andrew hurt his back in the garden. He's going to pop in. If you could just touch on the CBD products that you have.
Yeah, we do have CBD products, topical, for those, simple areas that are hurting. And then we also have gummy liquids that you can consume.
Marie, what are your hours on this Friday, and what about tomorrow, Saturday?
We're here till 5:30 today, and tomorrow from 9 to.
You're the Queen of Health. Keep up the good work, and we'll talk to you next week. Folks, another hour to go after the 1 o'clock news on the John DePetro Show.